I today am super excited to introduce Hoor Kesaria. Hoor, tell me a little bit about your business and what you do.
Firstly, thank you so much for having me. My name is Hoor, like you just mentioned. I'm a brand and website designer. I've been in this industry since over 10 years, I would say. I've been doing graphic design since I was 18.
Okay.
And I've been working with a lot of companies, with a lot of agencies. But what led me to actually start my own business was the freedom of time. When I became a mother, it was just so hard to be working with a company and going out to, work so many hours. And it was like, do I want to spend time with my children at home? And also my skills were really being undervalued at these companies. And I was being out, like burned out. I wasn't feeling that I was, valued in any way. And that was one of the reasons that led me to start High Quality Studio, to not only just, what I believe in is not only freedom of dollar, but also freedom of time, that time to spend with my family, with my children, and to just, get up and go whatever I want to, So
Yeah.
that really got me started. Till date, I've worked with over 60 women-owned businesses. And they're still in contact with me. For me, it's building relationships with these women-owned businesses, not only just, doing their work and saying bye to them, but just to be, like a community, to be a family, and that's what I call this, the High Quality Studio family.
Very
Um,
nice.
yeah.
So tell me, if people wanted to check you out, wanted to check out your website, your socials, how do they do that?
So they can easily go search High Quality Studio on Instagram, and my website is high-quality.com.
And can you spell QWERTY for me?
Yes, it's the first word on the keyboard, which is QWERTY.
Perfect. Then from there, let's talk a little bit about your business. So how long ago did you start your business?
So I started at the end of 2020, I would say. The idea came to me early 2020. I was just not sure because I've never done a business. I did a business, it didn't work out. So I was like really skeptical about starting another one.
Sure.
What really led me to just jump in was when I got pregnant with my second one. I was looking for jobs, and I went to different interviews in person. And every time I would go to these interviews, they would look at me as if I was a liability to them. They would ask me, "Oh, so we're gonna hire you, but you're gonna leave for maternity leave, or
Mhm.
or how are you taking care of your children?" So all these questions like really triggered me to think that I'm not a liability. Like being a mom or having a child or being pregnant should not be making me feel that it's a liability. And that was like the breaking through point for me. I was like, okay, that's it. I cannot work with people who undervalue me, think I'm a liability, and just don't value my skill. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go all into my idea, into my business. And that's when I got started right away.
I think that makes sense. I think the number of business owners that I talk to on a very frequent basis
Yeah.
that kind of have the mentality that you just mentioned, but at the
Yeah.
same time, they have true liabilities on in chairs, right? With people that say and do the wrong thing, and they could be men or women. It's always striking to me that they don't see the liability that's in front of them, and they think that someone that is pregnant is going to be a liability. I
Exactly.
I get part of the thought, but it is definitely a challenge. So
Absolutely.
you started your business almost 3 years ago. So tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about what do you attribute your growth to?
It was really hard. When I got started, I would be working literally from 5 a.m. to 1 a.m.
Mhm.
Like I didn't get no sleep. I was a mother already of a 3-year-old. I was pregnant at that time. So taking care of a toddler plus being pregnant, it wasn't easy. But what led me to just keep going was the ambition that I've always had, to just make a difference in the community. When I got into this business, I realized that a lot of female entrepreneurs they just struggle with the brand voice. Like they don't have any direction as to what their target audience is, what design direction they should go in, and how to achieve the goals that they already have. And I was like shocked by the fact that they really cut companies, women owned, they really cut corners when it comes to branding and website design. And this should be the first and foremost step when you're starting a business. For me, it's always like whenever I have an idea, I literally go to GoDaddy, I get the domain, I secure the Instagram handle. And the next thing is, why am I doing this business? Who am I targeting? The next is what is it going to look like? What are the visuals? What are the designs? So this is all a part of branding. And I just struggle to think that how people and companies who have been in business for 2 to 8 years, they just cut corners and they don't go towards, investing into that. It's actually an investment, not, like a cost, because you get so much in return, you
Yeah.
know?
It's funny, and I've said this before, and I'm sure that I've said it on one of these spotlights before. Oftentimes, when things get tough for businesses, marketing is the first thing to go, because a lot of people, male, female, I don't think that necessarily makes a difference.
Absolutely.
They think that marketing is just pretty pictures. And they don't realize that without marketing, you don't have a voice going to get more inbound leads, inbound clients, inbound calls.
Right.
And so they cut marketing and then wonder why they end up in a death spiral, because they don't have their voice out there doing anything. And I
Yeah.
think that that's one thing. I think you're specifically talking about branding yourself and branding your company. And I think that there's absolute truth to that as well. But it
Yeah.
all goes hand in hand, that people are
Absolutely.
oftentimes, they are not, they're short-sighted in what marketing can do. You hit it on the head when you said that marketing is by all means an asset that you're investing in, just the same as hiring good people. It's from
Absolutely.
a finance perspective, from a gap reporting perspective, they are not part of your assets, but they
Mhm.
are absolutely one of your greatest assets. So it's
I feel
extremely
like
important.
I feel like it's like you need to really rely on the levels of genius, like what you're good at. If I'm good at building something, I'm going to hire someone to take care of other tasks that I'm not good at, and that's what will help you move forward in life,
Yep.
and that's what people fail to understand. If I'm good at branding and strategy and website design, then hire me to do the work so you have more time to concentrate on your craft. And
Yep.
that's what I always explain to my clients. And like you said, marketing and branding go hand in hand.
Mm.
If you don't have a brand voice, a brand, image, a position, then what are you marketing? Just a product?
Yep.
How are you marketing that? What's the concerns that you are solving for the client, for the consumer? So it's all about not just selling the product, but selling a solution. And that's what branding, where it comes in, what are we solving for the client?
So one of the things that I like to ask, and I'm going
Mhm.
to actually ask this question twice, and it's going to be different, but what's the most influential book that you've read?
Okay, for me, I've read so many. I
Uh-huh.
love to read books. The one that really helped me achieve like a very open mindset, a very successful mindset was They Ask You Answer.
Okay.
By Sheridan. I love
Yep.
that book. He literally outlines, before his reading his book, I was always, this is what I offer. I offer branding, I offer website, I offer logo design, I offer social media management. But what is all that? What are the problems that you're solving with that? What are the concerns? What are the solutions that these things will bring? This is what he teaches that in that book, the messaging. And I love that, and that's what really helped me reposition the way I was talking to my clients. And today, like that book has really changed the way I reach out to my clients.
So um, the fact that I'm going to ask this question differently may backfire, because I, I would probably answer with they ask you answer in both cases, but I'm going to ask,
Mhm.
I is there one book that you would recommend for business leaders to read? Because, we don't, one of the things that I say to a lot of the business owners that I work with is you do not have to be a marketing expert, but you
Mm,
sure as heck need to be smart enough to know that the person you're hiring is doing the right thing and not leading you down the wrong path. I
absolutely.
personally believe that you or they asked, you answered is a great informational book for a CEO or for even a CMO that's really not a CMO that's kind of been put in that position. Is
Yeah.
there another book that you might actually recommend so that way people can be informed to realize turning marketing off is the worst thing you can do when the times get tough? Is there another book or would you recommend the same book?
So the other books that I've read are mostly for what I basically do, the brand voice. I read graphic design, I've read the mascots. But um for me, this has been so important. Not only the book, it's like a tool, I would say. They ask you
Mhm,
answer. They have a blog, they have videos, they have so many things that you can watch, and that can help you so, and it's all free,
mhm.
and it's not like you have to go out, find a coach and do that. They have provided everything. It's like a tool you can use in every day of your business. And I love that, and that really changed every time someone asks me what you would recommend or which direction we should go in, we're having a problem just to, talk to our clients, that's the book I would recommend.
Okay.
And that really changed my life and the way I do business. And that's what I would recommend others as well, for
So
sure.
it's funny because I listened to his podcast, Sheridan's podcast.
Yeah.
Know if it was even his. It was he was being interviewed
Mm,
before you asked they answer or they asked you answer was
yeah.
released, and he
Mm,
was teasing it. And it was one of those things where I recommend that podcast to so many people because it gives you the 90,000 foot view of the book, enough so that you can walk away and not be dangerous, be well informed. But the 10% that you go in and you read when you read the actual book is so important because there's so many minute details in there that really help. And to your point, his website is filled with resources that
so
can
many.
really help educate anybody. So I 100% agree with you.
Thank
So
you.
let's switch gears. You talked a little bit about being a mother, being pregnant, starting your business, working 17 hours a day. So
Yes,
time management clearly has been a problem for you at some point in
absolutely.
time. It has to
Absolutely.
be. There's
Every
no way it
day.
can be.
Every day.
What do you do or how have you improved it, short of your kids have gotten older and I think at least one's out of diapers at this point in time, maybe
So,
them.
okay, let me tell you, I have three kids. One is 5 currently, one is 2, and the other one is 7 months.
Okay.
So time management has been super hard for me, but the only thing that's helped me is to wake up early.
Okay.
Every time I've woken up early, I've been able to achieve so much more. You know how people say that if you wake up early, you're ahead of, other people who are basically
Mhm.
in bed. So that's what my goal was. And I've been doing this since I started. I wake up every day, 5:30 a.m., freshen up, get my cup of coffee, and I come in front of the computer. And that whole quiet time till they wake up at 9, 10, I have so much time to just, make notes of what I have to get done, what's my priority for today, and not only work-wise, but life plan, like family, everything. I plan everything out. And then I work on the projects that are due and all of that. And when obviously they take their afternoon nap, and that's when I come. But a lot of help also comes from my husband. He helps me a lot. Since we both work from home, it's always, helpful that if I'm busy, if I have to take a call, like right now, I was like, you need to leave with the kids so that I can be on this podcast. So that was, he plays a huge role and just helping with me with the time, with the kids, and with, everything, work-life balance.
Very nice. So, what are some common misconceptions about running a business that maybe you didn't even think about when you started the business, and how have you addressed those?
So a lot of times people think that once you start a business, you start making money right away. So wrong. And that's what I started my business with. I was like, okay, let me start this business. Everybody's doing it. If agencies can do it, then I can get it to that. I'm looking at their, at the point where they're like 10 years ahead of me. And
Hmm.
I'm just looking at that point. I'm not looking at when they got started. So that's what the misconception about starting a business is. And a lot of times when people get started, they're like, okay, we need equipment, we need a nice product, we need, all of these things to sell. But you also need branding. You also need a tool to sell it. How are you selling it? So for that, you need a website. Website serves as a storefront basically. And I would say, as Marcus in his book says, it's a 24/7 employee, you know, and it's a one-time investment. It's not someone you hire and you pay all your, no, it's a one-time investment into your website that answers your questions while you're sleeping, captures all the inquiries, and also attracts your clients and holds onto them. So that's something that I've seen so many people do. A lot of people come to me and they're like, we're struggling with our business. It's been 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and we just can't reach our target audience. And I'm like, okay, so let's look at the logo, the design. Why are you doing this business? What are your goals? Who is your target audience? And they fail to answer these questions. They just tell me that they either designed it on Canva themselves, or they would just get a design from their nephew. That's the biggest thing I've heard.
Hmm.
And they don't rely on professional help. And I'm shocked. And I'm like, how have you been in business so many years without doing branding and website? And that means so much. And the first phase when I onboard a client, the first phase that we go through is the discovery phase, which we don't even go to the design. We talk about who's your target audience, what's your slogan, what's your mission, what's your goal in 5 years. So all these things answers and directs me, into the design that I want to achieve for them. And I just can't, like, that's the biggest misconception, that branding is just a logo that you just put on your product or service and just try selling it. So it's just crazy.
Yeah, I think for people that don't understand it, I think I think everybody understands the value of a brand. I would argue that oftentimes that understanding is not conscious, it's subconscious. For instance, if you see, I mean, think about even the Marlboro brand. If you see that M in the mountains, I've never smoked in my life, but you know that that's Marlboro. If you hear that, dun, dun, you know it's Intel. If you see the BMW Rondell, you know it's BMW, the Golden Arches. Those brands have taken decades to get that brand recognition. And I think that people think one of two things. Either one, I will never be able to get to that brand recognition with my little brand, so it doesn't really matter. Or they incorrectly think, oh, they just put that out there and eventually it became popular. It's not that easy either. And so the branding piece is so very, very important. And similar to you as a business coach, a lot of what we do is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And let's figure out how to get you there.
Yeah.
Um, and as a business coach, let's try to figure out how to get you there without stubbing your toe on every problem that comes through. We're going to take those problems out of the way. And as a brand manager, as a branding ambassador like yourself, you're doing the exact same thing. Like, tell me your story. What is it that you want to do when you grow up? And let's get you there. So
Yeah.
I think that it's kudos to you for doing it, because I know how painful it can be sometimes.
Yep.
Last question. Any words of advice you would give to other business owners that are looking to grow?
So I would say really spend time on understanding your brand and the vision behind it. What makes you unique and what makes, like your business unique, what you're selling unique. If you don't answer the why behind what you're doing, then you can't reach your goals. So I would really urge them to actually look into that. And not only that, but also invest in, branding and website that can actually help them achieve, some their goals 5 times faster than what they're, just looking at, like a year or two. So that's what I would recommend.
Very nice. I said that that was the last question, but I do have one more question. And this is something that I talk to my clients about all the time, mainly because of my background with marketing, but in general, can you quickly explain to you the importance of doing an avatar or doing a ideal client, an ideal customer, and having those three avatars that are built out so that way you know who you're speaking to.
Wait, I don't
So
understand.
like an avatar, my clients, I want to go after plumbers and I
Yeah.
want to go after like building that brand voice, that
Okay.
ideal client and what that looks like and the importance of doing that for your clients.
So I would call it more so like a brand, it's like a brand pyramid. And it's not just when people come to me, they want just a logo. And that's when I tell them, hey, you don't want a logo, you want branding. And a brand is a whole pyramid. At the top of the pyramid would be the brand positioning, how you radically appear different and unique in the market and the community from your competitors. Then it's going to be your brand messaging, your brand identity, you know, your logo, your color palette, your typography, the way you talk to your client, what is your brand messaging, your website copy. The last part of the pyramid is going to be your brand strategy, your mission, your values. Why are you in this business? Why are you helping this type of target audience? So all of this combined is your branding. And it is so important for any business that this should be the first step of starting a business.
Perfect. Horace, thank you so much for your time. It's been great. And let's stay in touch because I'd love to catch up with you in the
Absolutely.
next couple of months, 6 months, a year, and see how your business is growing.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.